It's the Craggy Rugby Podcast. I'm Rob Murphy. Connacht 23, Leicester 29. It's a home win for the men from Welford Road. It's a last-minute bonus point from Connacht. Coming up on today's podcast, we're going to have from BBC Radio Chris Egerton. We're also going to hear from Andy Friend and Jack Carty. We're going to have highlights from the commentary. Dave Finn's on tour with us. He's going to be here with Alan for the in-game. Let's just introduce everyone. Alan.
Hi Rob. Yeah, great to be here in the Crumbly stand, sponsored by Breeden. As I got it wrong earlier on.
Previous podcasts for club members.
I'll own up to it. But yeah, fabulous old stand, 1920s, wooden seats. Yeah, I think they've got rid of the asbestos. I was just looking at the cameraman, where the cameraman had to crawl down. Look at those, like seriously, that's some bravery to be up there. And I know we're on a podcast, you can't see it.
That's fine, he's grand. He threw down the bag, he came down the rope ladder, he's okay. All right, William Davies, how are you?
I'm good, Rob, I'm good.
That's good. It was a good fun game. We love being here. We're very honoured to be here. We had to jump through a lot of hoops, going through all the protocols properly. Worth it.
Yes, it's a fabulous ground. It's a proper rugby ground. It has a different bite. We've been in some of the Meccano grounds that you have. Not going to knock them because they're different to what we have in the sports ground, but this has the feeling of a proper rugby ground with a proper rugby support. They made a hell of a racket. They were a bit worried at one stage. They were a bit worried, and Leicester were under pressure. So were their fans, because they want to keep this winning run going. Great crack. Really enjoyed it. It was worth all the effort to get here.
Would have taken a losing bonus point before this game. On tour with Craggy Rugby, Dave Finn, welcome along.
Greetings everyone. Leicester now have 13 from 13. The record in the professional era, as far as I'm aware, for an English team is 16 from 16. If they get to 16, match 17 is in the sports ground.
That's good research. I like that. Hey, in this game, I said it in the previous podcast for our club and executive members that we had out like the evening of the game. You guys are listening to this, a little bit later than the club and executive members as well, because we give them a little bit of a head start on it. Anyways, I said this already, but I'll say it again. Connacht went from 12-3 down to 20 points to 12 up just after half-time, a 17-point run. Then Leicester turned the tide, made the subs, got the dominance in the scrub, and they scored 17 unanswered points and started to run away with it, but Connacht got that late score. So it was an interesting kind of yin-yang battle.
It was. You come away in Europe, you go away from home. If you get a losing bonus point, you've done well. If you do get a losing bonus point against a team that's unbeaten this year, you've done incredibly well. Not something Connacht have ever managed to do before. So that's a huge result from a Connacht perspective.
Here's the story of the game. You're going to hear from myself and William in the commentary. You're going to hear from Alan and Dave, who were down alongside us. We'll talk to you in a sec. 4 metres from the Connacht line. Connacht couldn't convert in this position a few minutes ago. Leicester look better. Again, the hand comes out. I think there's another advantage. They're going to attack the corner. They're in the corner. Leicester lead 5-3. They look rattled, Connacht. They're struggling. And Hegarty is in for a try. 23 minutes into this contest, and Connacht, after a very promising start, are looking like a side that are in for a heavy beating unless they get underneath that post and start having a conversation with themselves. Connacht ball outside the 22. The pass is flat. It bounces off Leicester's shoulder. Oh, what an offload from Aki. He's given it to John Porch, and Porch is in for the try. That came from nowhere, and Connacht are back in the game. 12 points to 8 with a conversion to come. Burns, Gary Owen, and there's no one really alive to this. This could go anywhere. It bounces once and it's into a Leicester hand. So Connacht have made a hames of that. Half time coming in just over 60 seconds, and Connacht have a huge defensive stand to do. Leicester ball 10 metres outside the Connacht half field. Can Connacht keep their discipline first and foremost, because they haven't done so on previous Leicester attacks. Big moment in the game. 12-10. Leicester trying to make it happen. They're making a hames of it. That is forward. It comes out of the hands, and Jack Carty has it, and Carty's going the other way. He's going all towards the try line. He's going to go under the post. Jack Carty scores. Connacht are going to lead before half time, let alone concede. What a disaster for Leicester. What a moment for the man from Roscommon.
Okay, Dave, half time. Connacht are winning.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that with 10 minutes to go. I wasn't expecting that with 10 seconds to go, because we made a hames of a kick. We let a kick bounce in the middle of the field. They took it up. Can now see why they don't run too much with the ball. The prop looks shocked to be throwing the ball. They get it to Burns at half-back, and you know what happens when Burns playing a half-back against Connacht. We picked up an interception, we went in under the post. I mean, we have to deal better with some of the kicks going up, but even when you think, oh, this is going really badly, it hasn't. I mean, the spirit is there. It doesn't always come off. We could end up with the second half a bit like Leicester, but we could end up with the second half a bit like last week, or a second half like Ulster. We don't know, and that's the joy of watching Connacht. You don't know, and more importantly, Leicester don't know. I don't think this is what they expected. I don't think it's what the crowd expected. And to be fair, with 10 minutes to go, it's not what we expected. So 17-12, lap it up, boys. This is fun at the moment.
Connacht trying to get the shove on. That's not bad. No penalty as of yet. Now it goes to ground. Now they have the penalty. Free play for Leicester. Connacht push up in the back line. They make their tackles as they have to, but they know that the advantage is coming to Leicester. Here go the Tigers on the short side. A little chip over the top. Porsche is coming back. Connacht are going to catch this. We'll go back for the penalty, and now we get the yellow card. The yellow card goes to Finlay Beale. Out it comes from Youngs. Do they have the numbers? Surely they have an extra man. It's out to Sawimaka. Sawimaka's going in for the try, and he scores. Carty's gone for every last inch of that. What a kick from Jack Carty. 5 metres from the line.
Well,
Connacht have a shot at the losing bonus here.
You'd have to say fair play. He took his life in his hands and he went for it off the outside of the boot. Now get this call right and get a score and get a bonus point. Anything. Penalty,
last play. It's a losing bonus point that they would snap your hands off beforehand. They deserve for their efforts, but they've been malfunctioning in these situations. They're looking for any score here. The throw is to Delan. The maul is set, and now Connacht try and get going towards the line. Leicester come in and disrupt. They're on the wrong side. They're pulling it to ground. Connacht have got it out. Conor Oliver has it. Brilliant defence from Leicester. They're scampering. Connacht are in trouble. They're on their feet. They're over the ball. They're trying to kill it. Connacht are 10 metres from the line. That's a mess, and they nearly lost it, but Papa Lee did very well to hold on. He wants to show what he's capable. Beautiful legwork from Papa Lee. Gets Connacht back on the front foot. Tuamaga with the carry. He's a big man. He's the new signing. Connacht drive on. They're underneath the post looking for any sort of score, even a drop goal. Jack Carty goes for the drop goal, looking for the score. Has Carty got it? He has got it. Jack Carty gets the losing bonus point. That is hugely important for Connacht. 29-23, they lose this game, but that's brilliant from the Connacht captain.
Okay, Dave, it's full time. We're going to battle with this sound system, which is even louder than the sports ground, which I didn't think was possible. But Connacht managed to get a losing bonus point. That's a result.
First of all, apologies to John Mulligan. I will never complain again. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because potentially that game was there for the winning, and Steve Borthwick wins it with his tactic with one change. You were spotting it well into the game. They also made a change. I said that guy said at 60 minutes Whitcomb was huge, Dan Cole was huge. I'm still annoyed with some of the refereeing decisions. We lose by 6 points where there's 7 points is given by a forward from one of the clear forward pass. Ultimately though, they changed their 10, they changed their front row. We couldn't handle the change of the front row. I said we would be lucky to get 14 points at the start. If we were within 10 points at the start of the game, we'd take it. We got a losing bonus point. We can beat these guys at home, but they won't come with that starting 15. Not a chance.
No. Well, let's see what happens when we get to the sports ground, assuming it's still on at that stage.
Welcome back. Let's hear from Andy Friend. Mixed feelings for himself and Jack Carty, who you'll hear afterwards as well. Andy Friend, Welford Road. It didn't go very well last year. You can call this a much better performance from Connacht. An important losing bonus point in the context of the competition. How important was that late drop goal?
Yeah, really important to us, Rob. I actually thought it was probably just in the end. But, life isn't fair sometimes, but to manage to get that, I thought, we didn't come here to get a losing bonus point. We came here to win. The win was out of our reach when we went to that last line out, but to get the losing bonus point, I thought was a compliment to the team and to Jack Carty for having the wherewithal and then the ability to get the ball across over the post. So listen, we'll take it with where we were with 30 seconds to go, but not what we came here for.
Because of their dominance in the scrum, it seems like it was a logical result in the end that they won. But had Connacht been able to match them there, you might argue that Connacht were the better side overall. The scrum seemed to be key.
The scrum was key, but also, to me, it could have been a different game, Rob, if we execute some of the opportunities that we created. No, we didn't, and we've got to get better at that. But when you you're only 8 points up and there's 25 minutes to go at Welford Road. The one thing you can't be giving them is territory and then yellow cards, because that hurts you, and that's the penalty we paid there today. But listen, we'll take a lot of positives out of that, but it's not what we came here for, as I said.
Yeah, the stats kind of back up what you said there, and the 80% conversion rate for them. I think it's around 35% conversion rate in the 22 from Connacht. We saw a line out towards the end that went wrong. Number of chances. Kieran Marmion had a brilliant half break that wasn't converted when it was a 6-point game. They're the things you'll be really regretting. Yeah, we just, even in the first half, we created a great line break off a launch and the ball goes into touch. We had other opportunities where balls got put down. But listen, that's all learns for us. I said it's probably the biggest stage that some of these blokes have played on. So there's potentially some nerves there. But what I do know, Rob, is that we've got the game plan that can hurt teams, and we've just got to keep working on that and with that and keep believing in it. It's been a really tricky time for all rugby teams. There's a lot of challenges in terms of COVID. It must be really just great from your perspective that you've got 2 games in now, got a win with a bonus point, picked up another one. 6 points is a good return out of a possible 10, and that takes you into the Christmas period. Yeah, I think coming to Welford Road and picking up a bonus point, I suppose a lot of teams would be happy with it. And upon reflection, listen, to get 6 points with our opening 2 games is not a bad outcome. As I said, it's not what we wanted. We wanted more, and we'll keep striving for more. But it sets us up we're in an okay position. Just one last curious question. Are you happy with the impact of the bench? Do you feel like the squad's in a good position going into the Ulster-Munster game? Yeah, I am, Rob. I actually thought the bench came on and did well for us. And we're still building that depth, and we're still building. We've got a lot of youth in that side. And they haven't been, if they're not getting selected in that 23, they're not getting a lot of other rugby. So it's a real balancing act for us, but I was happy with the overall impact of the bounces. Thanks, Andy. Safe trip. Cheers, Rob. Hey, Jack.
What's up?
It's a great ground to play in, I'd say, and it's probably a better ground to come off the field, at least having a point. That seems like an important kick to get. I know you're just going to be ultimately disappointed with losing the game, but we're kind of feeling like there's a big positive there to get that point at the end.
I suppose at that point it was or that point of the game we kind of had, we coughed up a line out maybe 2 or 3 minutes previously before. So I think if you'd given us a point with 5 minutes left, we would have taken your hand off. Albeit my ball drop when I was about to kick it, I was like kind of halfway through it. I was like, this is definitely not going over. But look, at the moment I suppose we're okay with the 1 point. We were definitely in a position there to win it, and I think it was a bit of a seesaw battle at that stage, and we really needed to kind of grab the game by the scruff of the neck, and I don't think we probably did that at the pivotal time. Gave them field position, and then their forward power, and inevitably we gave away points or gave away penalties which led to points. So I think it's just about us when we get into them positions really grabbing the game and killing it.
You're sticking to a game plan that seems to be paying off, even with all the errors. I think you only converted 35% of your chances in the 22, yet you're still coming out of this with a battling performance. So I think overall, the way Connacht are playing seems to create a lot more scoring chances. Yeah,
and look, I think if you look back at last week, we definitely converted them chances this week when, it goes up another level or two. With a fumble kind of 5 meters out in the first half, and I suppose if that was last week, we would have converted it. And they're the moments in these games you don't get many of them, so you have to take them. I think in the first half we controlled the field territory quite well. We exited cleanly, and I think our kicking game was quite good, managed by the back 3, 9s and 10s. I think maybe in the second half, they maybe got the better of us in that respect, and you can see then that we ended up defending mauls, defending scrums in the wrong part of the field. So it'll definitely be something that we'll look at for next week, because it'll be something quite similar with Ulster.
Jack, yourself, how are you feeling right now? You've played every game and you started every game, which is a key thing, I'm sure, for yourself, the momentum going into Christmas. Are you really looking forward to getting that chance now to get to Ravenhill and just keep this going?
Body's feeling good, thankfully. I'm enjoying playing. I feel fresh, so I'm feeling that I'm playing well. So it's the more games I have, the better for me. And I suppose that's what anyone wants, is a bit of momentum, games you can string together. And thankfully, I'm managing to do that. Next week will be massive. It'll be a different test. They are obviously coming off the back of two massive wins. So we're under no illusions. Kind of with Christmas and stuff, it'll be a different challenge for us.
And 6 points from 10 in your Champions Cup knockout stages is the target. It's a possibility, no?
I definitely think if you would have said that to us before, we probably would have taken it. However, after today, we're I suppose, as Friendly alluded to there, we are quite disappointed with how we managed that in around the 60, 70 minutes. Look, there was a missed kick to touch for me out in the full. Handling errors, I think there may have been 11, could be more. Which, when you're playing teams like this, you can't give them entries into your red zone. So, look, we're kind of middling at the moment, I guess.
From the post-game interviews, my counterpart on BBC Radio Leicester, Chris, chatted to us afterwards. This was our initial kind of, after the post-match reaction, bit of a buzz. We recorded this in a flurry, and he joined us for a bit of a chat. So enjoy this, folks. In the midst of all this fun, we've got BBC Radio Leicester's main commentator, my counterpart.
Absolutely, Chris Egerton. Sorry, Chris Egerton. Sorry. Well, it actually helps because it helps warm my jaw up, frankly.
That's what we just said. We said, let's start podcasting so we can stay alive.
This is it. I tell you what, it's this. I'd like to point out that I know it's obviously the warmest of welcomes in Galway. I've been there, but I've experienced what you term a light breeze and the rest of us call a force 9. So I think it's fair to say we saved the good weather for you for this week. This is the coldest we've been this season. I promise you.
I don't want to oversell it here because you know how much we respect this club, Leicester Rugby. It's no surprise to you that we get excited about coming to Welford Road, and I hope it's a sense of pride because every Connacht person who was able to travel in these difficult times, and ourselves, this is an amazing place to watch a rugby game. It was crack again.
Well, you timed it well because this is only the second game we've had in the Crumbie Stand press box. For the whole period of COVID, we've actually been on the other side of the ground in filling in one of the disabled bays, and you're actually it's swings and roundabouts, snakes and ladders to a certain extent, because you're further away from the play, which means I needed binoculars to actually see the other side of the pitch. No joke either. But equally, you get a broader sense of the game, but you lose the atmosphere, and I think even though there was only 17,000 in here today, not bad, but I think in the current climate you can understand why it was a little low compared to the last game against here at Quins, which was a sellout. I don't want to bring up bad memories, but when Leicester got that man advantage midway through the second half, you feel it here in the stand, and you feel the crowd with the feet stamping on this wooden stand. I mean, the Crumbie is the last one to be updated. It will go eventually, but not in a long way. Well, but bear in mind, this is the reason why Tigers missed out on a 2015 World Cup games. That's why they were staged across the road. The facilities here weren't considered good enough by World Rugby to stage games. It's about the size of capacity and now the facilities, because they want to make it on a par with the Olympic Games and the Football World Cup as much as they can, at least anyway. And to be fair, staging it here, it's not going to work now. So
I think you miss. I could feel, as you say, when Leicester were there and they were getting scrum after scrum and the crowd were getting, I felt like, wow, this place, there was just a history that was coming out of this stand that was just like, whoa, this is so class. This is why I wanted to come. This is why I was quite willing to travel.
We've missed this because one of the main issues being on the other side of the ground. Hey, look, we're just glad to be in the grounds, let's be fair. You're slightly removed from that atmosphere. It wasn't the case for the first game back against Bristol. You got the sense of that atmosphere.
And this is what I'm worried about when Connacht do up the sports ground, whenever they get around to doing up the sports ground. The Clan stand is very similar to the Shed in Gloucester. It's small, it's down, you're going to be sitting. If you do come across and we do have a game, you're going to be sitting in it. Yes. And you're going to it's just, whoa. For a small number of people, we make an awful lot of noise.
I've not worked. I'm originally actually from Sale, and my brother, I can say this on this podcast, to be fair. Lots of people know around here. But I always make sure that with my younger brother and we go on a sort of busman's holiday for me. And so when Sale were there, last January, I was there. It was a decent game, actually. It was a couple of years ago, in fact, wasn't it? So I've experienced the unique atmosphere of the sports ground, and fair play, we had a fabulous weekend all round. So I think how Leicester adapt to that will be fascinating. I mean, they are on a good run. To get it back to here, they are on a good run, and you saw that with the confidence that they showed in the second half. It'll be a proper game. You'll see Ford and Genge back for that one, I tell you now, and others.
You know, you forgive us, because like it's a big thing in Ireland anyways. What do you think of us? That's all we ever care about. So what do you think of us? So what do you think of us?
You know, that's actually the classic question on any podcast involving the away side, isn't it? People say, come on, let's... No.
You guys are great. How about us?
Sod you lot, we want to talk about us.
No. It's very much the you play well, how did I play well?
Do you know, I was actually, and we actually said this on commentary, I was actually really pleased that you got a bonus point out of that, because I think that was the least that you deserved. Carty, to me, is class. I wasn't that impressed with him.
Bring Andy Farrell if you get a chance.
Well, we'll have a word. Although I don't know that the Farrells are there's not many Leicester fans who are necessarily greatest fans of the Farrells, to be fair. Carty just oozed class, and actually he reminded me to a certain extent of some of George Ford's performances this season. Just these lovely subtle delayed passes, the awareness to get on for that interception. What effectively was an interception try just before half time, and you sensed at the time that might be a crucial time, but it was the way also it led the line. To me, he oozed international class. Even at the end of the game, when they're pushing for that drop goal or just something to get them a bonus point or something, the kick to the corner was just a thing of beauty. And he pushed it right to the limits, and you've seen those go wrong before. And that wasn't the only one he pulled off as well. So I thought Oliver, the open side, I thought he looked good. Prendergast with that lovely offload that could have caused Tigers problems. I think it came from a team playing with confidence, with a little bit more gnarliness than frankly they showed in the last 16. They've clearly upped the game. I wonder whether that's as much down not just to the recruitment that you've made, but also the coaching team that have come in the last 12 months or so. So to me, I love the way Connacht approached it. I thought they were unfortunate. I think a different Leicester side in a different season would have found that even tougher. Because bear in mind, with Leicester's decline, it's not just the 2 seasons where they were 11th. Bear in mind, they've not really seriously competed at Champions Cup level since they lost to Racing in the semi-final, and that was 5 years ago. It will be a proper game in Galway. A proper game. I just hope we get the game. Yeah. Because I think what we're all worrying about in the back of our mind is, are there going to be new restrictions? There's talk in the papers over here, there might be a circuit breaker, but we just, in typical Boris style, we don't know when it's going to be. And then if there's only one weekend free, if they take the last 16 to just a straight one-game affair, then you start to think, well, when can we stage these games? And we might be back into the situation we were in last season. I hope not, because
we want to see lots of your fans over because they love it.
And trust me, having sampled more than a little of the Galway atmosphere in the past.
We have a list of pubs. We have one pub, Murty Rabbits. It's the only place to go to because not because they sponsor us, because they are the best pub in Galway.
There's the pub. Well, I may have sampled one or two of the others, one or two, or even 7 or 8. So look, that will be an occasion. That will be a proper occasion.
It's been brilliant to have you on. I want to get you back. Make sure, whatever it takes, if you need me to write a letter to the BBC to say we need you over there.
We will work on it. I fear governments might have to be persuaded too. But look,
no one's writing a letter to Boris Johnson.
Look, fingers crossed we're all in Galway. Let's do this again in a pub in the middle of January. But look, we've loved having you over here. It was great to actually see the reaction to the 2 tries. So it showed that there were a few who made the trip from west of Ireland. So look. Let's just do this again in slightly different times, free of COVID, and also let's improve the bloody weather as well.
Joseph, it's so bloody cold. Okay, thank you. This is what they call in the podcast industry a drop-in from Dublin Airport. We're going to go back to Welford Road and back in the time-space continuum in a couple of seconds' time. But we just need to jump in and say that Jack Carty got a grand slam. And we felt the need to mention this. And in the midst of the chaos after a game, sometimes we forget things, William. We don't, pick up on everything.
We did. And we actually met him at the airport and had a little chat with him. And he was quite pleased to have scored a try, a conversion, a penalty and a drop goal.
Namely, as we're just refamiliarising ourselves with, the famous Grand Slam. Alan Deegan is the master of all spreadsheets and stats to do with Connacht Rugby in the professional era, soon to be the amateur era as well, but let's just focus on the professional era. That's happened multiple times, has it?
Never.
Never?
We've had a lot of our illustrious out halves who've done 3 of them, where they've got a penalty, a conversion and a drop goal. The likes of
try, a penalty and whatever.
Very rarely it's done that way. Very rarely have we got a try and then 3 others, but that has happened too. But I just focused on the drop goals because that's the one that's the hardest. Like Dan Park's done it on numerous occasions. Eric Elwood did it a couple of times.
This is 3 of the 4.
Mark McHugh, 3 of the 4, where they've got a drop goal, a penalty and a conversion. I could go down through the tries as well, but effectively I just went for the kicks. I went for the kicks rather than just adding in the try. They definitely didn't score tries. And a couple of guys that you wouldn't have expected, the likes of Niall O'Connor, Ian Keatley and Tim Donnelly.
Tim Donnelly? No.
I can see the reaction, even though William's wearing his mask. I can see that reaction.
Did he do it in Breve? He hardly did in Breve, William, did he?
I prefer not to say what he did in brief.
That wasn't a good performance for Tim.
And by the way, people were asking when was the last time Jack scored a drop goal or we scored a drop goal. I said it was against Toulouse. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was last February against Dragons when Jack scored a drop goal.
Stop, lads. Do you know, I don't know if we talk about it in the rest of the pod, so just to finish on, William, it was a quick fire decision after a scrappy line out, 2 phases on the back foot, and he just, I asked him briefly, did you, this was off the record in the airport, or sorry, not off the record, but this is off air in the airport, you won't mind me sharing it. I was like, did you call that just like a few seconds before? He said, yeah, we just needed to realign and get it done.
Well, that's great thinking, because the bonus point, we said it, could be vital. Might not be, but probably will be. And we've also, in our own discussions, pointed out that Munster have traded on this for very many years, that going away and getting a bonus point is a huge achievement. And I think when it settles in and you look at the performance, it actually is the minimum that Connacht deserved, and they took the chance and they got it.
My phrase for that is championship attitude, and that's what it was. And when you put that 1 point and you stack it on the 5, that's why it looks so good, because they put the 5 in the bag, they've added a point. It feels like more. Okay, that's almost it, but one other bit of news is swirling around. By the time you listen to this, we'll have heard more on it, and it will come up in the midweek pod that Alan is chairing during the week. I think Linley's back with us for that one. Ultan Dillane, rumours in Le Quitte today that he's heading to Ronagar and La Rochelle, although I thought Ronagar was heading to Munster, maybe not.
No, I don't think Ronagar is going to Munster.
No.
He wrote a big article in the Examiner about why he couldn't, he didn't do it, so I think
but I digress. Of course he's going to stay with La Rochelle, but the point is, Ultan Dillane.
Yeah, it's looking like he's signed a 3-year deal as reported in L'Equipe, which is it's sad to see in one sense that we're losing a great player, but he certainly doesn't know us anything, and has been an unbelievably brilliant servant for us.
It reminds me of when John Muldoon was humming and hawing whether to get that last contract. Nothing left to give for Connacht in one sense, but it would be great if we could get him for a few more seasons, and I've no doubt he would give every last drop of energy if he did.
Yeah, but a professional player, and you have to maximise your income. That's your job, as well as playing good rugby. He's been a brilliant servant for Connacht. If this news is correct, I wish him well. I hope he has a good time over there. He was born in France, he speaks French, and I think he'll be an asset for any side that would get him.
We're going to miss him, but that's the way rugby works. Okay folks, more on that during the week. Let's get back to the pod from Welford Road. Back we come. We're wrapping things up here from Welford Road. Look, bottom line for our listeners, we're going to have lots of coverage of Ulster this week. Things move on, William. It's a fast-moving pace. Who knows what's coming around the corner in terms of postponements as well. So let's just sit back and enjoy the fact that 2 rounds of Europe and Connacht are where they could have better than they could have hoped for, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. 5-point win last week. I mean, Stad came with a big reputation. They didn't leave the sports ground with much of one, but and then Connacht have come here and they've got the point, and they would have taken that at the start, irrespective of how the game panned out. And if they'd tightened it up a bit here, they could. This was maybe an opportunity to do something a little bit special, but it didn't happen. But they got the point. They're up and running in Europe. 2 heavy-duty games, URC coming up. St Stephen's Day or Boxing Day next Sunday is going to be a tough one. I think Ulster didn't enjoy their defeat at the Aviva, and they've played some good rugby since. 2 wins in Europe, and then Munster, who have been doing all sorts of things and having all sorts of problems, but are still winning games. That's much to look forward to, and I just hope with COVID that we're able to stay on top of all this, we'll just have to be guided by the experts and what we're told.
Connacht had multiple PCR tests this week, so everyone was okay. Dave, I think they're starting to get over some of the injuries. They had to go deep into the squad, though. The boys who came off the bench didn't do too bad. I like to look at Fafita when he came on, Papa Lee as well, Tom Aga's first game.
Yeah, I mean, it's cohesion at the moment. Those guys haven't played a lot of rugby, certainly haven't played a lot of rugby together. It was good to have them come on. At least they weren't driven backward in the tackle. I mean, that's a very, very difficult Leicester squad to knock. But, you know, when they hit you, some of the hits, oh boy. I mean, we're relatively speaking, we're a a large distance from the ground. You could hear them. It was a battle, and I think it's good to see. We're going to need those guys going forward. As you say, we've got Ulster coming up, who I was listening to the commentary from BBC Ulster. They feel that losing Stuart McCluskey is even bigger than losing Ian Henderson.
Alan, got to ask you this. You said it beforehand, and I think you were right. Bundee Aki needs a few games to be Bundee Aki. He was still really, really effective there, as we saw, but it's not the fullest of the full yet. I think coming through Christmas, if we could have him for a couple more games, could be critical.
I think Ireland need him to have a couple more games. Bundee needs to play more rugby. You could see it as the game went on. He got better and better because he was getting more hits and he was getting more into it. He was getting tougher going. You know, so you sort of have to say, yeah, let's see more of Bundee.
Big thing he was doing today, because I had the binoculars on him a few times, he never stopped talking. He was organising, directing, cajoling around him. And I think there was a period last season where that wasn't happening. He was just playing his game. He was a different man out there today. Maybe this has come from the Lions tour, but he was so voluble, and that really helped because players were looking to him. He was animated all the time. That was huge.
And he also has more belief in the players around him. Like we look at that pass he made earlier on in the game, you know, where he probably should have taken it on for a few more steps. I think he might have thought that, you know, Connacht are playing so well and the players are so good, I can let the other guys take this and run with it and score. And there was an element of that he's more of a game, he's more of a team player now than he was last year, and that's definitely come since the Lions.
And Dave, if we're going to go to Ravenhill and beat them again, which just seems so unlikely when they're going to be so angry, he's going to be critical.
Well, they're all going to be critical. It was good to see everybody that came back played well. Tiernan came back, was solid on the high ball, but you don't feel worried if it's Tiernan or if it's going to be Oran McNulty. Both can do a job. We don't know where Mark Hansen will he be available for these two games. I mean, he'll come in. Like to see Alex Wooten get a bit more ball. He does seem to be very cold, almost as cold as us.
I'd like to see Tom Daly back, who got injured in that Ulster game in a way that should have been punished but wasn't. Anyways,
unfortunately, Tom won't be back for that game, but Tom Farrell hopefully will come back into the equation. And then we look at the forwards. We'll have hopefully Oisin Dowling, Jordan Duggan will come back in as well. Just a few guys who picked up knocks. I know no Paul Boyle. No Paul Boyle, but we'll see Owen Masson. And I'd like to see TJ start one of those games. He is. I mean, you have to see this. It's like grounds. You have to see this man. I can't describe him. He's big.
Say goodbye, everyone. We got to get going.
Ciao.
William.
Cheerio, folks.
Thanks for listening. Sign up. You guys are getting this podcast and every post-game podcast for free because we think you're the best in the world, and thank you for that. And if you can't sign up to our club membership, and make sure you spread the word about this podcast to get as many listeners as possible. Dave, final thought?
Yeah, can I just say thank you to Gary Sherrod, who's the Press and Communications Officer of Leicester. He's gone above and beyond this week to get us into this game, and without him we wouldn't actually literally be here.
Cracking guy, cracking club.
Yes, and Adam Whitty from BBC Radio Leicester has been a massive help to us, along with Chris Egerton.
We deal with some great opposition radio stations, but this is one of the best, really, and that's saying something.
And I won't be in Belfast because I'll be picking my daughter up. She's coming home from Canada for the first time in 3 years. Hi, Cass.
Big hi to Cassie. She loves getting shout-outs on the radio. All right, that's it. We asked for questions from you guys on the Discord, and Alan lost track of his phone, so he's fired. And I just want you to know that in the midweek podcast, Alan has promised to answer these questions as part of our midweek podcast, and he will personally write the apology.
Loose, cut it loose. Break out or nothing changes. Side